The first of 5 reasons you need to retire as soon as possible is you have limited time. On a weekly basis, I talk to people that have planned their whole life, 30, 40 years, and planned for this retirement date. And they've had this big event happen to them. Again, they've either lost a loved one or something's happened to them personally, health-wise, their physical ability to do what they wanted to do in retirement. I talk to many of you that have had these life-changing events. And it wakes you up and it changes the way you view retirement, changes the way you view your life, and when you're going to retire. And this is one of the reasons you have to realize that time is limited. Now, again, you need to make sure you have enough money to enjoy the rest of your time, but understand that time is limited. And I'm sure most of you watching this video know someone or have someone in your life that's experienced this firsthand. Talk to them about it. What was their experience? How did it change their viewpoint on retirement going forward? The second reason you want to retire as quickly as possible is not all retirement years are the same. And I talk about the go-go years of retirement. And the go-go years are defined, as far as I'm concerned, by the day you retire till about age 75. Now, a lot of data shows that age 71 to 73 is when things start to slow down, meaning that you can't travel as much, do a lot of the things you were doing in your possibly 50s, but 60s. So it starts to slow down. So typically when we build a retirement plan, we map out those go-go years where you have more money to go do the things from retirement date to age 75. Then you have the slow-go years from 75 to roughly 85, and then the no-go years beyond that. And so you only have so many of these go-go years where you can do a lot of the things that when we think about retirement, when you close your eyes and think, what does retirement look like? For a lot of us, it's those go-go years. It's traveling, it's doing stuff, it's being active, it's whatever our wishes are. It's not your 70s, your 80s, your 90s. I had my grandma over last night for dinner, and she turns 87 this year. Now, she's doing great. She had a couple falls and hip replacement and pins in her legs and all that kind of stuff, but she's moving great. But obviously, she's not moving the way she was 20 years ago in her go-go phase. She's now in the no-go phase of retirement. And so you can kind of see that the amount that people slow down as they get older. So again, there's only so many of these go-go years. How many of those do you want? We had a great comment on one of our videos a while back and said, my grandfather told me a long time ago, there are 2 retirements in life. The first is when you retire from work. The second, when you're too old to do the things you enjoy doing. Make the time between the two as long as you possibly can. So again, talking about those go-go years of retirement. How do we create as many go-go years as possible? That should be the goal for every single retiree in Canada and worldwide. The third reason you should retire as soon as possible is to spend more time with family and friends. Now, a lot of you are continuing to work, so you don't have to spend more time with family and friends. But for the majority of you, you actually like your family, you like your friends, and you want to spend more time with them. And so one of the great reasons to retire is to spend more time with them. And again, case in point, I just did a video down in Anaheim. We were at Disneyland, Universal Studios, just full of vacation, but we brought my in-laws with us. And they retired a couple of years ago, and they're in their mid-60s, and they're enjoying those go-go years. They've done a lot of travel, they're doing cruises, they're always on the go. But part of that on the go is spending time with their friends. They're very social that way, but spending time with their kids and grandkids. So they have, I think there's 14 grandkids now that they have. So there's a lot of people to spend time with, and they love that. And that was one of the main reasons they decided to retire when they did. It's so that they could have more of those go-go years with family, with friends, grandkids, all of that. The fourth reason to retire as soon as possible is to actually have the ability to do your bucket list items. We all have a bucket list, and if you don't, create one today. You should have a bucket list for every aspect of your life, but especially as you go into retirement. A lot of us have, I'd like to do this, and maybe you don't have an official bucket list, but there's these things in the back of your head, or if you've heard maybe someone else go on a cruise or do a trip or pick up a hobby, whatever it is, they thought, now that'd be kind of cool to do. That's your bucket list. Write it down if it helps you. But again, retiring as soon as possible will get you to those bucket list items a lot faster. Comes back to that go-go phase. A lot of bucket list items have to fall in the go-go, maybe the slow-go phase of retirement, but the majority of them are typically in that go-go phase. So the more years you have in go-go phase, the more you can check off that bucket list item. So again, I encourage you, create that bucket list item, and that may push you to retirement. Like, wow, there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in the next 5, 10, 15 years of my life. Like, I need to actually get out of work so I can get those done, because there's only a finite amount of time to get that stuff done later in life. The fifth and final reason to retire ASAP is, well, you have enough already. And I've said it before and I'll continue to say it again. The amount of retirement plans our team does for you, the viewers, Canadians, coast to coast, that already had enough a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago to retire and you didn't know it. You meet with our team, we put a plan together and we say, look, Joe and Sally, you guys are doing great. You have enough to retire, check all the bucket list items you want to do, and much more. You could have retired 2 years ago. And they didn't know that. This probably happens once a week in our office. Now, it's a great problem to have, and that's why I encourage all of you to get a retirement plan, ideally about 5 to 10 years from when you think you can retire. Because what happens if you're 5 years out, but you're really only 1 year out? Maybe you do want to retire in 1 year. If you have enough, why not pull the pin? It goes back to the previous 4 things I mentioned on why you want to retire ASAP. So for a lot of you, you've waited too long to get your retirement plan done. And the reality is you could have retired a long time ago. Now, for some of you, in a small portion, you know you have enough, but you just love what you do and you want to continue doing it. Totally fine. But for a lot of you, you already have enough and you don't realize it. So again, sit down with your financial planner, get a plan together. If you need help with that, reach out to our office. We do retirement planning for Canadians coast to coast. So if you're looking for help around retirement plan, like how does this all come together? Can I retire? Where does my money come from? How do I reduce my tax bill? Government benefit, CPP, OAS, timing, like there's so many factors to the decumulation, to the income draw in retirement. It's very different than the accumulation phase. So one thing is kind of going through these 5 steps of, okay, yeah, I'm ready to retire. But then there's a second step of like, how do you actually do it? So if you need help with that, reach out to our office, parallelwealth.com/planning. You can learn all about our planning services. Sample plan is on there, the pricing, all the structure. If you're not sure if it's the right fit for you, set up a call with me. Happy to chat with you, and we go from there. So hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.